and see her recommended reading at gracecurleyshow.com.
She's a liar and a mean person. She's a nut job.
Now, here's the millennial with the mic,
Grace Curley.
Grace Curley.
Grace Curley.
Grace Curley.
Grace Curley, host of the Grace Curley Show.
Grace Curley.
Welcome back, folks. It's Mike Crawford hosting for Grace on the Grace Curley Show today. Happy Friday, everybody. We have attorney Nan Gallagher on the phone. How you doing, attorney Nan Gallagher?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great. Enjoying Friday. Lots going on.
Me too.
Yeah, there's so much happening in Massachusetts and even beyond on the corruption angle. Definitely wanted to talk to you about Karen Reed. But before we do that, I want to talk about Michael Proctor, because today there was a hearing for Brian Walsh. And Brian Walsh is supposed to go on trial next week. Allegedly, he killed his wife. But Michael Proctor is going to be a big part of this trial, I think, just like it was for Karen Reed. What do you think? Is it going to have the same impact on Brian Walsh that it had on the Karen Reed trial, Michael Proctor himself?
Yeah, don't wind me up about Michael Proctor. He has been a problem from the get-go, and I dare say for at least a decade or more before Karen Reed's case. But yeah, I mean, I was watching the hearing this morning for Brian Walsh, and there's going to be no change of venue. And yeah, Proctor is going to be invariably interwoven in the tapestry of the Brian Walsh case. Whether or not he conducted a good investigation or a faulty investigation, he is a huge problem for the prosecution that's going to be launched against him, because Walsh's attorneys are going to really shred him in terms of his biases, his misconduct, the corruption. They're entitled to ask him, unless I'm unaware of ex parte decisions that or in limine decisions that the judge has ruled on, they're going to ask him questions about whether or not he predetermines the guilt or innocence of a suspect that he's investigating. So what has come out through the Karen Reed trial is going to permeate Walsh's trial. And I don't make any secret about it. Like, I understand that defendants have a presumption of innocence until proven guilty. But where we stand right now, Mike, I mean, in looking at the evidence that I have learned about thus far, it's looking like, in my opinion, he might have killed his wife. But now we got a crummy investigator who's got a very public display of misconduct and bias that's going to crack the shell wide open in terms of just creating fodder, just a lot of fodder for a good criminal defense attorney to kick around.
Totally. And, on the Karen Reed trial, Michael Proctor was called as a witness by the prosecution in the first trial. In the retrial, they didn't call him as a witness. It seemed to actually work against the prosecution not calling him as a witness the second trial, because he became the boogeyman for everything, and the jury never got to see him. What do you think the prosecution will do in this case with Brian Walsh? Will they actually call Proctor on the stand, or are they going to do the same thing that they did on the Karen Reed retrial and not call the Massachusetts State Police officer named Michael Proctor and not put him on the stand?
Yeah, it's so funny, because when Karen Reed's trial 2.0 was going on, I kicked it around for weeks as to whether the prosecution should call him, and I ultimately landed on that they should. When a prosecution does not call the lead investigator or even an investigator who had a more tertiary involvement, you're showing very indirectly to a jury that you're aware you've got a boogeyman who needs to testify on your behalf. And if you don't present him to a jury, you're showing them, hey, we got something to hide. We don't trust you, jury. Just trust us, bro. We're going to tell you a story and just believe us. But Proctor, in this case, if the Commonwealth does not call him and just let him lie open for bear and let the defense, take its shots at him, they are shooting themselves in the foot. So I don't know. I haven't seen anything that says they are going to call him or they're not. That's a game time decision. If I were the prosecutor, I'd call him and then try to rehabilitate on redirect if the defense lands any shots with him.
That may be the best thing for them. It seemed to work for them on the first trial for Karen Reed. It was better than not guilty verdicts that she got on the most serious charges on the retrial when they didn't put him on the stand. I wonder about these other cases because there's so many new emails that are coming out related to Michael Proctor, his emails, his text messages. How many do you think that people are going to be released from jail and a lot more people are going to beat their cases because of Mass State Police Michael Proctor, the disgraced trooper? What do you think?
I do. They're saying right now that there's at least 19 cases that his inappropriate text messaging has affected. I think it's infinitely and exponentially more than that. And as far as the prior convictions or pending cases that he has even touched lightly, you're going to see reopened cases, retried cases, and possible dismissals of pending charges and reversals of convictions. It's a foregone conclusion. If the defense attorneys for those defendants, whether those cases have been tried and there's been convictions or whether they're pending, those defense attorneys are going to make solid arguments, strong arguments to judges to do just very that. They're going to say, no, this should never have resulted in a conviction. A lot of judges are inclined to say, we'll give it a retrial, but there's plenty of grounds up in the Commonwealth to actually dismiss convictions, dismiss pending charges. So this is going to be an absolute train wreck, and I'm here for every minute of it. I mean, the Commonwealth keeps me quite busy, even though I'm not situated up there.
Yeah, there's so much to keep track of between Karen Reed and some of these other cases that we're talking about with Brian Walsh, Miles King. We could go on. There's a lot of cases. There's also Karen Reed right now. There's a possibility that she is indicted again. It looks like they're trying to indict her again on witness intimidation with Aidan Carney. What do you think about that? Is that a real thing? Do you think they're really trying to indict her, or is that kind of just keeping her quiet for a little while? Some people think that it's just kind of a threat, an empty threat out there. Or do you think that's a serious thing, that they're still trying to put her in jail?
I think it's probably a combination of both. I think it's a serious pending threat to Karen Reed that she could get further indicted for witness intimidation. But at the same time, I think that the Commonwealth has just been kicking the can down the road, wasting everyone's time. Because if you recall, they hung on to her vehicle well after she was acquitted. I think at this point, the Commonwealth really doesn't want to just let her go. There's a lot of hurt feelings, so the Commonwealth is probably looking to give her a bit of an empty threat, but at the same time, it's a legitimate threat that she may have in any way tried to intimidate witnesses. Now, I do need to say, though, Mike, I think that's complete BS. I don't feel that she did any of that based on information I know and information that I've read. But right now, she got to be very careful. And, I still strongly believe in her. I never once have wavered in my faith and support of her. And right now, we're going to see what the Commonwealth really wants to do. But at the end of it, all of this is going to play into her ultimate civil rights action that she is going to file against a number of individuals and public entities. And I cannot wait to see that lawsuit.
When do you think that might happen?
She's got a couple years that she has to file it, but I think she's going to file that probably within the next 3 months or less. I file a lot of civil rights actions in my practice of 25 years. And from my experience, you always have a stronger case when you file one when everyone's memories are fresher. And if you listen to Alan Jackson talk about it, like it's imminent. So I'm thinking 3 months or less, and it may very well be in the next month.
Wow.
But I would say by early 2026 we're going to see it, and you really have one chance to file your best claims. You got to throw them all in the lawsuit ahead of time. You can't add more later unless there's real extraordinary circumstances. But I'm predicting by early 2026, if not in the next 30 days, she's gonna file it.
Do you think that would be federal or state court where she would file that type of civil suit?
My opinion, she should file it in federal court, but it's sounding like it's trending towards bundling it into state court actions that are pending. I think she's going to file it in federal court, though, ultimately, if I love her attorneys. She's got great attorneys, and I know they're kicking it around, but I see it more as a federal court action. There's a lot of U.S. constitutional issues. If it were me and she were to ask me, I'd say bundle this up as a Section 1983 federal civil rights action. I love federal juries. I love the federal rules. That's the best road to take.
Sounds like the best venue for it. We're speaking to attorney Nan Gallagher. She's going to stick around for the next segment. We're going to talk much more about Karen Reed, the sidebar transcripts, as well as the civil suits. I want to thank attorney Nan Gallagher for being here. This is Mike Crawford. This is the Grace Curley Show.
Hey,
Taylor, what is the poll question today?
Today's poll question, which you can vote in at gracecurleyshow.com, is: do you think your average elected official cares about you and your family?
Is it still at 100%? What's
Still at 100% no, not one vote for yes.
Oh, my Lord. That says a lot about the state of affairs in Massachusetts and all over New England and the country. Like, people just don't trust their public officials, the courts, and there's a good reason for it. I mean, what we're talking about all day here is just a bunch of kind of disgraceful things going on where people commit murders and get let out for $50,000 bail because the police are so crooked. It's unbelievable. We have attorney Nan Gallagher on the line. We're talking about Karen Reed right now. Karen Reed, we've been waiting for the sidebar transcripts to be released from the Karen Reed trial, and we still don't have them. The judge is blocking it. There's an attorney that's been on the show here, on the Grace Curley Show, Corey Hopkins. She's been filing FOIA requests, and it looks like some lawsuits maybe as well. And she's getting some pushback. What do you think is actually going on here, attorney Nan Gallagher, with these sidebar transcripts? Why haven't they been released?
Oh, man, there is no reason why they have not been released. And I want to mention Corey Hopkins is a queen. I'm so proud of her as a fellow member of the bar for launching this lawsuit and for really doggedly pursuing any citizen's right to file such a lawsuit. But the Commonwealth is just dragging their feet. They don't want, and it's specifically Judge Cannoni. She doesn't want these to come out because there's probably something very salacious in there that the public needs to know, wants to know. We want transparency in our judiciary. We want transparency in our law enforcement. I don't really have an answer for you other than Corey Hopkins is going to have a successful lawsuit. And I did hear through one of the social media channels that the officials want to meet with Corey or speak to her, I think on Monday. So maybe to try to avoid further litigation. But ultimately, whether she has to sue and pursue her rights as a citizen and the public to see these materials and talk about them, or whether it's really just an effort to try to settle this and reveal these to her, perhaps under some type of non-disclosure agreement, which will never fly. They're going to look to try to keep this buttoned up. And the Commonwealth is going to be unsuccessful because if Corey is encountering the pushback that she has right now, there's going to be a dozen lawsuits to follow hers.
Is there any good reason? Like, I've been hearing some whispers that it's possible that the judge is holding us up because Karen may be indicted again. Is that reasonable? Is that a reasonable answer why they would hold this up?
No, in fact, there's statutory reasons why they can't hold it up, but I don't think it's because of a looming further indictment coming. That potential future indictment, which I think is going nowhere, would never be grounds to delay. I think it's more of just dragging their feet. The DA's office has shown us time and time again, even more recently on the Miles King case, that they don't know how to diligently and aggressively pursue prosecutions. And now we're seeing that they drag their feet even post-acquittals. So I don't think it has anything to do with a potential future indictment. I think it's more of a need and a desire of the judiciary, the DA's office, and possibly even higher powers that be just want to hide the ball and make people guess. But ultimately, it's going to all come out. So, like, if they're putting this off, it's temporary. They might as well just hand it over now because it's definitely coming out eventually.
Yeah, why not just rip the Band-Aid off and get it over with instead of doing the slow walk, which it just makes it extends the story. We've got a quick moment here before we need to take a break, but the last thing is Karen Reed is going to be in court next Friday on the civil suit. She's being sued. What do you think about that civil suit against her, and what can we expect on Friday and going forward? She's being sued for the OUI. They're still claiming that she caused the death of John O'Keefe. What do you think about the civil suit, real quick here?
Yeah, the civil suit is for wrongful death based on, a theory that she somehow hit John O'Keefe with her car, and the O'Keefes have every right to pursue that suit. They're filed all the time. There's a lesser burden of proof. They don't need to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, just a preponderance of the evidence. I think it's an incredibly weak case. I question the O'Keefe's judgment in light of all of the evidence they've heard in trials 1.0 and 2.0 of a criminal nature. But ultimately, I think that the bar establishments will likely settle through their insurance carriers. And I think Karen's going to be in it till the very end. And through the evidence, she's going to show a jury that she came to play. She came to fight. She did not hit John O'Keefe with her car. John O'Keefe was not hit with a car. And she's going to be victorious.
Thank you, Attorney Nan Gallagher. You can follow her on Twitter at LaFerio. Thank you so much, Attorney Nan Gallagher. This is Mike Crawford. This is The Grace Curley Show.